we looked at a lot of different products out there, and we were debating between, I think, 3 of them. And what ultimately it was you guys were starting off, and you were young, and you were motivated, and you were able to flow with what people needed, what we needed. And I was able to give you feedback early on, and that feedback actually came true in your software. And so that made us feel like we were part of you guys building, and we wanted to be a part of that.
Welcome back to another episode of the Cost of Doing Business show. It is Wednesday. It is Wednesday evening here. We are in Park City, Utah. And yes, we are going skiing. Hold your horses, that'll be tomorrow. But we are here at John Minahan's place for Blackdog Landscape. And John, my memory of John is sitting in the attic of my little cabin, tiny house in Romania where my wife is from, and doing some Zoom calls, and eventually you signed up and got started back in 2020. I think you were one of the first, I have to go look, you were one of the first 50 customers for sure.
Yes.
So John is one of the OGs, and it's been super fun being here. John was super gracious and opened up his office, his business here with his team, and just pulled back the wraps of all of their operations. And we've had a fantastic afternoon digging into kind of his backstory, getting into SynkedUP, and our whole engineering team is here. That's why we're in town. We're doing a retreat for our engineering team, just doing some planning for the year. So anyway, when we do those kinds of things, I always like to, when you travel, you try to make the most of it. And relationships are a big deal, and I like to get out there and meet people in person every time I have a chance. So thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Absolutely. It's been super awesome being here, super gracious host. For everybody listening, can you guys give us an intro as to how you got started in the industry, what your business looks like, how many team members you have, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so Blackdog Stone Landscape based in Park City, Utah. Let's see, I originally started in college doing stonework in Waitsfield, Vermont.
Really?
And that's where I learned the stonework trade.
Wow.
Working in the summers at school. And then I came out to Park City in 2002 and started my own, basically, stone exterior veneer business, and a couple buddies and myself, and did that in the summer. And in the winter I was coaching ski racing here in the mountains.
Is that what brought you here in the first place?
Mountains, yeah.
Okay.
Skiing.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome.
And yeah, I came out here and did that for on and off for like 3 years, and then left the construction industry and moved into other things. And eventually came back in 2015 and started with Blackdog Builders, our parent company, who has been in business doing general contracting here in town for over 20 years. And we started off doing just stonework, exterior stonework, fireplaces, chimneys, and that evolved. People kept asking, hey, can you install a patio? Can you install a fire pit? Can you install trees? Can you move dirt? Can you do this? And I just kept saying yes and figured it out. And then got into doing design and build in probably 2017. Started that.
Okay.
And dabbling in that.
Yep.
And it's evolved to what we are now, and doing full, huge landscape designs and builds in Park City and surrounding area.
That's awesome. And you were, from our conversation earlier, you were saying it's not like you go out of Park City very often. Like, you're pretty tight in this area.
Yeah, we stay within kind of Park City proper.
Yeah.
There's plenty of work here. There's so much construction going on. There's so much building in the surrounding area. It's growing massively.
That's awesome.
Every year, and
it's a good market.
We're lucky enough to have endless amount of work at the moment, and so I'm going to ride this train as long as I can.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's January 3rd or 4th to 3rd today.
3rd, yeah.
And we were just there looking at your schedule. You're already booked out for the whole year. That's just insane.
We are lucky enough to be booked for next year.
Yeah.
I guess that depends on how many crews I have.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you move those needles, pull those levers.
But currently, yes, and we are trying to work and expanding into maintenance, because we only do basically the construction side right now.
Yeah.
And so we don't do any maintenance currently, but we're going to build that out for this coming summer.
Yeah.
And kind of start to grow the business that way. And we do snow removal in the winter. Plenty of snow here.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah. How long has your longest term employee been with you?
Oh man, 5 years.
Okay.
Is probably my longest, and what are we on, 8 now?
Yeah.
I had a gentleman that started with me from day one, and he basically helped me build the company and was an incredible stonemason, and helped me build the company on the stone side and the landscaping side. And he left to do some other adventures last summer, beginning of last summer.
Okay.
And so he would have been 7 years or so. But.
Yeah. Well, just from the afternoon spending time here with you, like I've been super impressed with like how much time you have effort you've obviously invested into, building systems and processes around your day to day. Like you're pretty advanced. So when, I talk to a lot of people and like you've obviously, so just giving back that to you as feedback, like you've done a fantastic job, and it's been really, really good for us and the engineering team to be here kind of seeing the real life aspect of how you think, how you plan, because the closer we can get to that reality, the better we can do in, evolving the product, Synced Up. Which actually I want to ask you, what were you on the hunt for? Like what drove you to book that demo with Synced Up and ultimately select it?
Mainly just trying to get our financials and estimating in order and accurate. That was the biggest thing, is not being able to, cover my overheads, make a profit, and having Synced Up, builds all that in. And so it makes it a lot easier to, plan, and you don't have to crunch Excel numbers to come up with your margins and your overheads, and Synced Up does that for you, and that's been phenomenal. And also linking the office to the crew and the information they get so that they can do their jobs efficiently and quickly and pull up all the information they need, designs, numbers, materials, products, anything. And that connection between the office and the crew, the installation crew, and then also just making sure our estimates and numbers are as accurate as possible.
Mm-hmm. What was the moment that you were like, yeah, this is the product that's going to help me fix this problem?
That's a good question. It was, we looked at a lot of different products out there, and we were debating between, I think, 3 of them. And what ultimately it was you guys were starting off, and you were young, and you were motivated, and you were able to kind of flow with what people needed, what we needed. And I was able to give you feedback early on, and that feedback actually came true in your software. Yeah. And so that was really, it made us feel like we were part of you guys building, and we wanted to be a part of that. And that was, growing together was, one of the main reasons we wanted to do that.
That's super fun. Yeah, and I hope we never lose that. What we strive for is to never lose that hunger, that curiosity, that drive to continue to innovate, and because the world changes. So since you signed up, or soon after, whatever COVID happened, all that stuff. It's like the world does change for real, and it's not like you ever arrive. We're like, okay, yep, we've nailed this problem, and now we just sit back. It's like you're constantly like, okay, cool, we got to this rung in the ladder. How do we get to the next one? So
there's always another aspect, another avenue, another level, another direction, make it better.
Yep.
But going back to systems, like that was our biggest issue, and still is creating good systems from phone calls all the way to estimates to getting it out to the production team and getting it done. And we worked really hard last year to try to make the production team's process a lot more clear and easier. So then they could just look at it and be like, okay, we got to do this, this, and this. And there's no gray area. And so we worked really hard last year to try to get those in place. And we still have a lot of work to do to make it better. But it was a big stepping stone for us to make this season, more successful.
What's an example of something practical that you did? Like when you did that, when you worked on it, what's something that changed?
Communication with the team.
Okay.
Making sure they have the information they need, and then
which means like upload
having access to the designs, to the construction documents, to the product, the quality, the quantities they need, and then also just communicating throughout the whole process early on, like, hey, this project's starting in a month. What do we need to do? Okay, this project's starting in 2 weeks. What do we need to do? Get ready. This project's starting in a week. Are we ready? Do we have permits in place? Are we ready to go? All right, project started. Great. What do we need? Where are we? And staying on top of that and starting that process, as far in advance as you can, ordering material as far as ahead as you can, so it's in place, it's on the job, it's ready to go. Guys aren't calling like, hey, where are these pavers? We need them tomorrow.
Exactly. The old adage of, I don't even know, I'm butchering it, but like an hour of planning prevents 8 hours of waste in the field. I'm butchering it. I forget what it is, but something along the lines of like planning and prep work. Like I know even like from my time at Tussey when I was running a crew, like as we were building SynkedUP, it got to the point where I could, or any crew member could, get in the app 3 weeks before the job even kicked off and start scrolling through the products, the pictures, all of that stuff, and just start getting mentally prepped for what's coming, so that when that job is coming on, yep, materials are in, okay, good, and it's like, okay, now we're day before, okay, this is I need this equipment, I'm going to load the truck in this way, and I'm going to need this much manpower. It's like that mental prep, like when a foreman or a crew member can take that kind of, have the information, first of all, that's key, to then be able to do that mental prep, it has such a big difference in your overall efficiency.
Yeah, getting the project managers thinking about it way ahead and is key. Yep, for sure.
And another example that's coming to mind is on the systems and processes kick is Tiffany, which we were working with when you were onboarding with SynkedUP, which moved on for family reasons. But then, what's your other gal that you just hired on?
Charlotte.
Charlotte, yes. How she started in September, and she's already doing, I don't know, how big of a job does she typically estimate?
She's done up to $250,000 projects already, easily.
That's just unbelievable. Like that's the power of systems and processes. Yeah. Someone in 3 months, 4 months now, has gone from new to doing multi-six-figure projects because of, and practically speaking, like how did that happen? Practically speaking, it's basically John's reaping the rewards of all of the templates and production rates that they spent all that time setting up and building up. And yeah, took time, absolutely. And many people kind of, it's easy to feel like, well, I don't have time to do that kind of thing. Well, all that time came back to you in onboarding a new employee successfully in a matter of months or weeks even.
No, it's been a lifesaver. Yeah. The work that Tiffany and I put in to build out, the templates and the estimating system and the systems we have in general for the whole company, have been priceless. We're able to bring someone on and they're up to speed within weeks. Yep. And it's been huge.
Systems and processes feel like they take time to create that you don't have, but they genuinely are the keys out of the entrepreneurial prison. Like the entrepreneurial prison is like, well, I'm the only one that can do it, or it's magic stuck in my head. Nobody can see in what's in my head. Like a production rate is a great example of what is often stuck in people's heads. Is like, well, how many tons of stones is it going to take to do that patio? About 25. How did you know that? 20 years of experience.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, but converting that to a production rate is what makes it accessible to anyone, universal to anyone.
And that process, it all needs to be is a Word document of job description and detail that.
Yeah, it doesn't have to become a massive beast, you know?
And it sounds cumbersome, and it is to a certain extent, but you just have to do it.
Yeah, and you'll be glad, you'll get to reap the benefits that you're reaping right now.
Yep.
This is some of my favorite questions to ask for folks on the podcast. What was one of the biggest challenges you've overcome in your business journey?
Oh man, losing tons of money on a project and figuring it out.
Figuring out like why?
Understanding what happened and just being able to push through it. And unfortunately we've had some projects that have gone haywire early on, but my business partner, who owns a general contracting company, has been super supportive, and that mentorship from him has been huge, of like, hey, things went wrong, figure it out, do better next time. He's been super supportive of just understanding that and understanding what we're going through, and he's been through it, and he's like, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And he's given us that ability to grow and learn and fail and and gave us that space to do that.
It's like it's like making that mistake one time or a few times is the price of education.
Yeah.
But making the mistake repeatedly is the price of blindness.
Yeah.
And we can't fault anyone for making a mistake once or twice or whatever, but when it turns into a repeated mistake and we're just not, there's plenty of folks that will feel that pain and be like, well, I'll just work harder. I'll make it up on the next one.
Yep.
And it's true. You do need to work harder and you need to make it up on the next one. But it's like, well, what was the root cause? What was the why? Because I don't want to repeat that same mistake again.
Yeah. And there's been times where I felt beat down.
Yeah.
And ultimately it's like, hey, I've got a crew of 10 to 18 guys. They need to eat. They need to pay their bills. They need to pay their mortgage. They need to support their families. And I'm like, keep going.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. But that mentorship is huge, which is a great segue to the other question I want to ask you. What is some of the best advice you've ever been given that's been really helpful or impactful for you?
There's been two.
Okay.
That I consistently live by. The first one was from my current business partner, and he told me, take off the tool belt, work on your business. Yes, go out, do what you need to do, but ultimately you need to be in managing the business.
Yep.
Not the jobs. You need to manage the business.
Yep.
That was the biggest ones. Like you have to learn to let go of what they're doing out in the production field and then the next one is hiring the right people to be able to do what you can't do or what you're not capable of doing, or let them do their job.
Yeah.
And trust them, hire them. You have to pay them well. That's how you keep good people. And that's been, a learning experience. For sure.
It's funny how, in my mind anyway, the two are kind of linked, like the idea of building systems and processes and the ability to work on the business. Well, the only way you're going to be able to work on the business is if you build the infrastructure of the systems and processes where other people can do the job. And then the idea is then do the job well, take pride in their work. And it just feeds on itself. It's like, what I'm trying to connect the dots on here is building systems and processes actually can help you retain good people, A players that want to excel and grow and challenge themselves, because it gives systems and processes gives them a degree of autonomy. It's not like they always have to be looking back up at you over their shoulder, be like, did I do it right? Did I do it right? Well, there's a clear process, And if you did the process, then yes.
It gives them the ability to take ownership of that and move forward with it and complete it or do whatever they need to do. because they understand that process. They understand what needs to happen. And if they understand that, then they don't have to keep asking questions and going backwards.
Yeah.
So they can just, okay, I need to do this. Okay, now I need to do this. Now I need to do this.
Yes, because I would argue that as much as an owner hates to babysit employees, employees hate to feel like they're being babysat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they want to be able to work autonomously and make decisions make decisions that are appropriately aligned to their responsibility. But feel like they solve problems and overcome challenges without having to bother you. Like that's for me anyway, that was huge for me in the years I was running a cruise. We were running an engine. Like, we had a machine and we could just crank projects out and do it well. We'd run into issues and we didn't even make a phone call. Like, we just had it, because we had that autonomy and that freedom. And we sensed that trust from the leadership in the business that, they placed their full trust in us. They weren't gonna second guess us necessarily, or if we did make a grave error or mistake, it's not like you're getting hit over the head with a stick. It's more of like, how do we prevent it the next time? That comes down, it kind of bleeds into culture and all that stuff.
And it's growing employees from the ground up, or they don't have to be from the ground up, but the more knowledge they have, the better you will be able to, they can do. More knowledge of whatever you're doing is better, obviously. And giving them the opportunity to learn, try things, fail, try again, figure it out. It's painful to watch sometimes when you have a guy doing something, you're like, no. But you got to.
I'm bad for that.
You got to step back and just let them figure it out, and hopefully they grow from that. And when you have good people, you got to take care of them the best you can.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because and the truth is good people are worth it if the business is set up properly. They can produce the value in the business that justifies paying them really well. I've seen it happen many times. It's not like if you can't, then there's probably ways we can pull some levers and get it to that point. But well, John, I super appreciate your hospitality. We kind of gone long on you here. So thank you for hosting us and for pulling back the wraps of your business and letting me bring my whole engineering team here. And it's been a huge success, I feel like, for what I was hoping it could be like, coming up here and seeing you. And so thank you. Appreciate it.
It's been fun.
Absolutely. Before we wrap it up, where can people learn more about you or find you or get in contact?
Blackdog Stone Landscape, Park City, Utah.
Just Google it. Website there.
Yeah, I mean, there's Instagram.
You're on
Facebook,
Instagram? Yeah.
There's, we got all that good stuff.
Right on.
We're not as involved in some of that social media at the moment. That's a whole nother kind of level of business.
Well, you are in Park City right here. Your work is right here. So it is definitely a kind of a unique spin onto how you acquire your clients and all of that. Like, some people I know people that pretty much get all their clients from Instagram, but everybody kind of has a unique spin to that, which kind of market impacts that. Just different things impact that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, thanks again, man.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
Yep. Thank you.
All right.